drive through major corn-producing areas of Nebraska, you're likely to notice a stark contrast between the winter landscape and the yellow grain on the ground. In its November crop report, the USDA estimated the state's corn production at 1.6 billion bushels. As for soybeans, tighter stocks and a large upcoming crop in Brazil could present conflicting selling strategies. With the December crop report next week, we thought it was important to cover grain markets as well in this show. On Thursday afternoon, we talked with John Meuret from Meuret Grain Company in Brunswick. Crop report's coming out next week. Should we expect anything major?
I don't think so, Jeff. I don't think there's much in there to really move the market. We know we're going to have a big carryout. We know the beans are going to swell a little bit from where they were 2 months ago. But for the most part, no, I don't think we've got anything major coming.
Before we get into maybe some selling strategies on corn and soybeans, update me on what basis numbers look like in this area.
Bases have stayed exceptionally strong through harvest here. We're starting to see a little weakness now, I think, as we wrap up the tail end of harvest. A week ago here, Monday, there's around 1 billion bushel of corn left in the field. And I think that's the corn that's weighing on the market now. But I think, the bin doors are shut and the cold weather is going to set in and we can maybe firm the cash back up a little bit.
Corn and beans both?
Corn and beans, yep.
All right, let's talk about beans. They found a little bit of momentum here lately. Can it continue?
I think so, Jeff. I mean, you have a real problem because China's, the cheaper we get, or what they think is cheap, the more they buy. So China continues to suck the beans out of the country here and they've got a really healthy crush margin. So for you and I, there's an inverse. For the China guy, he's happy to keep buying them. So we need to go to a level that stops that or slows it down.
Do you feel we're in a weather rally with South America or not necessarily?
No, not yet, and that's the scary part. We're not even really in a weather rally. We're more in a demand rally here at the moment. So I think we need to stay tuned. By Christmas, if we don't have a weather rally, then I think we can maybe ease back a little bit.
Where are you as far as being a seller here for this crop?
On the beans here, I think you need to pay attention to these rallies. In 13 or 13.50 cash, you certainly need to let go of probably 80% of the soybeans. Next year's crop, I don't know if you want to talk about that, Jeff.
Yeah, let's move into that because it's significantly lower. So how would you go about even trying to price that?
The same time you're pricing the 13 crop, the crop that you put away now, I think you need to look to the 14 crop. And if you can take advantage of some 11 or 11 and a quarter cash for next fall, you need to start doing it. One thing's for sure, the total acres don't change next year. There may be some switches between corn and beans, but ultimately, if you're a bull, you better hope for poor weather.
Corn is lower today, as was beans at the close. Where does it find momentum here? I guess the question is, how does it go higher? How does it go lower?
Corn's going to be really, really tricky. The one major factor everybody's paying attention to the next 40 days is going to be this fund rebalance. And you've seen the numbers, but they need to buy about 1 billion bushel of corn. The only problem is the farmer needs to sell about 10 billion bushel. And so if we rally and the farmer can stay quiet, you could maybe get 15 or 20 cents. If you rally a little and the farmer lets go of the corn, you're going to just stay in place here and tread water. So I would anticipate we tread water, and I think we leak lower into next year as we see South America's crops start to come off. So.
Is it realistic to say that there's just not enough demand to eat up all
There's
this
not enough
corn?
demand, and you can see what China's doing, Jeff. They've rejected 3 cargoes. They've got containers as well that have problems with. It's price negotiation, and I've told a lot of people this week, but it's really hard for people to want to sell more corn to China if they're not paying for what they've already got setting in port. So there's a real nervousness that's reverberated all the way back into Nebraska in this last 10 days. So
now on the opposite side of soybeans, corn next year looks strong. How would you go about pricing the 14 crop?
I think there's a carry in the market now. New crop corn next year is a carry from today, and so take advantage of it on these 20 or 30 cent rallies, and you're going to see those and sell it. Same concept as before. If we see anything like normal weather, we've got plenty of corn, we've got plenty of soybeans, and be disciplined. And if inputs are cheaper, you're going to make some money. $4.50 corn and cheaper inputs, I think you've got some profits. So take profit when you see it.
There's news out of China that they're rejecting some GMO corn out of the U.S. How big of a deal is that?
It's a big deal, Jeff. It's an extremely big deal. Like I talked about before, nobody wants to load additional corn if you've already got rejected cargoes in port. I think a lot of it isn't the trait. They're using that as a scapegoat. A lot of the problem is price. They bought last May when the farmer should have sold, and so they're underwater. Their crop also came off the same time ours did, and so they don't need it. They're also changing some things and some rules within China on who can sell the surplus corn back into the Chinese inventory. So it's tricky, but it's a big deal.